Welcome back to Sister Circle Live. Our next guest is known as the Self-Love Ambassador. He's got a huge following on Instagram and gave us some great relationship advice the last time he was here. Now, if you follow him, you know that he touches on almost every subject from relationships to finances and even self-preservation. Today, we're talking about why some men may realize you are the one, but they don't come to their senses until it's too late.
Never too late.
Yes, please welcome back Derrick Jaxyn.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Welcome back. See, you lost about a smooth 10 since you got.
I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? X, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I think some muscle coming through the gym.
Some of y'all that too, because y'all like the gym membership show.
Right, I love it. All right, here's the scenario, okay?
Okay.
We know often that men and women go back and forth with the man that they love in hopes that, you know, he will appreciate us, get together, and they still dishonor you. Okay, months later, after she's moved on, then they may come back and she's no longer interested.
Ooh.
What is going on? Is this growing pain, so to speak, or should we be like, you had it, too bad?
You know, you can't even call it a growing pain because sometimes there's no actual growth. But I think from the woman's standpoint, you just got to decide how much pain are you willing to tolerate. Like, is the net positive or is it net negative? That's the only thing that should matter, because whenever you start considering whether or not it's a growing pain or something like that, you start blurring the line of actually enabling this man to do you wrong over and over again.
Can you give us an example of that? Give us a scenario what that looks like.
I think when a woman comes into a guy and he's like, well, I never knew love. I never saw love before. My parents weren't in love, and I never saw a marriage before. Then she says, well, you know what? He just got like a learning curve or something like that.
You got a love disability.
Yeah, but it's a lot of things we haven't seen.
That's good. You should write a song.
But it's a lot of things we haven't seen, and at the end of the day, you don't need to get into any kind of commitment, any kind of situation if you're not ready for it. If you know that you haven't seen it, you knew that before you met that woman. There was no point in going forward in a relationship. So that's an example.
Okay. I was going to go off script, but I'm just going to stick to the questions on the card.
Now go off script.
Now, why does it have to be pain? I don't understand. Why is it a situation where it's like women have to go through so much with a man, and then he's like, well, you know, I might as well be with her because she done been through everything with me. She been down for me. Why do we have to experience pain?
That's a good
Why can't
point,
it just
Clyde.
not be love?
Well, first off,
That's a good point.
never let yourself become the might as well woman. Like if you're not that man's relationship goals, then you need to keep it moving. So there is no like have to go through this and have to go through that. Once he presents you with something that you like you can tell he's not ready for what you bring to the table, you need to tell him to excuse himself.
Or you just excuse yourself.
Or excuse yourself,
Okay,
but it's your
wait a
table.
minute now, Derrick.
What's up?
Okay, now you had said that you have to determine your pain factor. Like you have to kind of
You said weigh it out.
weigh it out.
Weigh
So
it
that
out.
means that there is in fact pain. If I'm
There
weighing
can-
it out, then there is in fact pain.
There can be some challenges, yeah.
So in a situation, what if the situation is they're together? He wasn't always like that, but you know, through time, she just has been able. She has endured a lot.
So
Then it's the turnaround. Well, I might as well marry her because
I've
of
heard
X,
that
Y,
so
Z.
much.
So
I've
she didn't
heard
really
that.
come into it being
Then
the
she got
might
all
as
my-
well
she got my
girl.
kids.
But then she turns around and goes,
She cooked for
I'm
me.
the might as
taking
well.
I think you got to look
might
at it
as
and say,
well.
you know what? When pain becomes damaged, then we've gone too far.
Okay.
Because there's going to be some discomfort, there's going to be some challenges in getting to
Yes.
know each other. That's normal. But when it comes to a point where you're not the same person that you were whenever you came into the relationship, and not in a good way, then you need to leave that relationship because it's toxic and it
See,
doesn't
that's
deserve
key
it.
because some women might feel like that they, you know, stand and stick and, you know, waiting for him to, say, you know, marry them.
Right.
But they don't know that it could be hurting them, and they don't know the difference between sticking it out, because some marriages you do need to stick it out, or this isn't good for me. And I think that's a big thing. We
Right.
don't know the difference.
Well, marriage as a relationship title, as a label, that shouldn't be anybody's goal. A healthy relationship that facilitates the best in you should be your goal.
Right,
So if you're ever
right,
getting away from that, you need to get away from that man.
Wow,
like
wow.
that. That's good.
I know, Quad, this was one of your questions, but I want to bring it back up. When Lizzo said, we got like a smooth 40. When Lizzo said, why are men great till they gotta be great? Wow, that was a real poignant
That's real.
lyric.
That's real.
Okay, I
So
haven't heard
what
that.
exactly does it mean, or 3 reasons a man waits until it's too late? Can you give us, we don't have time for that, but we're going to tease the people that are staying for the full hour when they come back.
Okay.
And it's going to be beautiful. But we thank you for the people who are just are about to leave right now for Amazing Gems. please make sure you continue to follow Derrick.
And remember, the conversation always continues on Sister Circle TV on all social media platforms.
Right.
Because that's always.
That's right. For the full hour, people, I'm about to get these 3 reasons for you, okay? It's going to be real good. Derrick Jaxyn, tell the people your Instagram real quick.
At Derrick, Jaxn on Instagram and everywhere you can find me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank God for social media.
Absolutely. Welcome back to our amazing show. It's called Sister Circle Live, and we're talking about why some men may realize you are the one, but they don't come to their senses until it's too late.
Now let's talk about that.
Okay.
Why do men wait? I mean, they almost wait to, especially get married, till they're like in a wheelchair, they on a breathing machine. You know what I'm saying?
Chicken legs, the hairline all the way back,
On the
pot
hair.
belly.
Why? And you think somebody wants you? Nobody wants. And then you got to deal with the health issues and all of that. Ain't nobody signing up for health issues.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. First off and foremost, society has always coddled us as males. Like we've always been given a pass to learn things too late. Like growing up, I don't know, y'all probably have heard it too. Like, oh, girls mature faster than boys.
Yes.
No, girls have just been held to a higher standard of maturity than boys. But boys will be boys, and then we become a man and say, well, you know what, I'm just a man. It's just who I am. And also, a lot of times a guy doesn't think he'll ever meet that girl that's going to require him to be prepared before he comes into a relationship with her, until he does. So then he tries to learn on the job, but then he ends up losing the job, and then afterwards it's like, man, hindsight is 20/20. And thirdly, I gotta mention this. Sometimes he doesn't actually learn anything. So all of that begging, all of that R&B song singing, all of the doves releasing, all of that is just saying, I didn't think you would smarten up, and now I still want you back. Like I want access to you. But he hasn't actually changed who he is.
Right.
That's
My
a fool,
God,
man.
today.
Yeah.
See, I have a real girlfriend, okay? And she's dating this guy. They've been dating for a cute amount of time.
Okay.
But there is this woman. They've never done anything, but she is a point of contention in their relationship. Now, is it up to the woman or up to the man to checkmate the situation?
I think you already know the common denominator is that man. Like if he's not protecting the relationship, how is she supposed to feel protected in that relationship? So I mean, I can't stand whenever we see this, but we've always made the man's actions almost like some kind of responsibility of the woman that he's with. But you can't take on that burden because we've grown. We got full control over our actions. So when it comes to that, if he's not going to do what he needs to do, then she needs to understand what she got to do, which is get out.
See, I love the way you talk.
I like it.
I love every bit of it.
It's just real, man.
It's the suit. Okay, so what if? Okay, give me this scenario, dear.
Okay.
Okay, now there are men that are slow on the maturity, and a lot of times it's not because they're just not trying. Sometimes they've grown up in situations where they haven't had an example.
True.
You know, just like when we say sometimes a man is struggling being a father because he didn't have one, and that is facts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same thing for a woman as well. You know?
Right.
So at what point is it just pointless, like he's just not going to get the picture, or when is it good for a woman to say, well, you know what, I'm going to try with him because I see potential in him, or not even potential, but I see him trying. Because potential is nothing but a person that ain't doing nothing right now.
Right.
A man trying and actually moving to better himself.
Right.
How do we know when to stay with that man, or if that's not what that is?
I think we need to know the difference between what's hopeless and what's pointless.
Right.
It's like, what price are you willing to pay based on what you bring to it? No, like you can hope all you want to. Like 'tis the season, hope, do your thing. But there may not be a point if you right now currently bring so much to the table and you're not getting reciprocity, because you're not going to feel fulfilled in that relationship. You're not going to be happy, and that's going to spill over. So there's really no point in staying in that relationship, even though you have hope. You need to keep him at a safe distance, an appropriate distance, like friendship or something like that, until he comes along. But don't stay there. That staying there, that presence is
Well, what
costing
if you're married?
If you're already married,
Yeah.
and then he slows down, like he starts regressing into marriage.
No, because here's the thing. Let's say you're married. And you're married, everything's great, but nobody has 100% of themselves, even coming into a marriage. I'm just being honest.
Right.
But there's something that is taking longer for him to progress at. But he's still, all the other stuff
But what
outweighs it. You see what I'm saying?
What is it costing you? Because it's no one size fits all. So what are we talking about? Is he on a learning curve of not putting his hands on you? Is he on a learning curve of not cheating?
Something that
or
is
just
within
communication
him.
or something
Maybe
like that?
It's communication,
ambition.
If it's something that's not costing you yourself, then I say, you know what? Hang out, wait it out. You've committed at the highest level.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But if you see it's not getting any better, then you got to say, you know what, these vows aren't being honored. And again, marriage shouldn't be your goal. A healthy relationship, a progressive relationship should be your goal.
What about those acrimony situations where you spent all this time, you've invested all this into this man, and you helped him on his glow up, and the next thing you know, he breaks off you and then goes to this other woman, and everything is everything. What do? Huh? Do you shoot him?
Well, I definitely wouldn't say that. But I would say it's going to be a lot of things that exist that you're not going to like. It just is. This is life. But it's about what you focus on. When I see this happen to women, I see the ones who get hurt, the ones that's most detrimental to are the ones who are sitting there staring at it. It's almost like the sun. Like, you know the sun exists, right? So you see the sun, you know it's there. But if you focus on it, if you stare at it, that's when it starts causing you harm. But if you just know that it's there and you take it for the good that it has, like that whatever that experience taught you, and you keep it moving, then it makes you better. It doesn't hurt you. Those who sit there and wallow in their sorrow and their pain, then they come across that blessing that's supposed to be there happily ever after, but they can't enjoy it because they're still focusing on the sun. They're focusing on that hot situation that burned them once.
Well, maybe it gave you a tan.
Let it burn.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I should say, let it burn.
Burn it all.
I'm gonna say this: we as women, I mean, we're naturally nurturing, we really are, but we don't want to be a man's training wheels. We do not.
Yes,
so what do we do to make sure we're not being his training wheels or his crutch? What are we doing?
First off, you got to set boundaries, and you can't be compromising on those boundaries, because if you compromise, he's definitely going to compromise. And I think even from past situations and past relationships, because like I said, sometimes it gets connected, I think women have to understand the second part to healing, which is detachment. So even after you get to feeling good and you say, you know what, I'm ready to date again, you got to be able to detach that past situation from what could come in the future.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's going to set the standard, that's going to be the basis, and you're going to say, you know what, I'm willing to tolerate more of this effed up treatment because I once did, and that's just who I am.
Derrick, I got a question. I'm sorry. Why come?
Why
Why come?
Oh, she feeling this one.
Y'all just don't be like, you know what? I'm gonna act right so that she doesn't have to do all these circus acts to get me to act right.
Because
how come a man just can't come into a situation and say, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do?
What's up with these men that say, oh, you know what, man, she a good woman. I'm telling you, I know she's a good woman.
One at a time.
I know, bro. Hit her and hit me. Hit her and then come over here with me. Because I gotta act. I done heard that 1,000 times how good I am. I'm a good
doing what you're
woman.
supposed to do in a relationship with those intentions.
It's about being right. And that takes time. That takes self-awareness.
That's a good point.
That takes a certain level of grooming and raising.
Right.
But I think the number one thing that could fix all of this is self-awareness on the part of the man. Like, I don't want to make this all about what the woman is doing wrong and not protecting herself and not being a good enough investigator. It's about us preparing ourselves and saying, you know, if I'm not prepared for this relationship, I don't need to get into it.
Right.
So that's what we need to put.
That's what I was asking.
Being truthful to yourself.
Yes.
Tell the truth.
But speaking of preparing yourself, you have a crown recovery class.
Right.
Now, who is this master class for? Who should be taking this class?
This is for women who have wasted their time and invested into somebody and it left them hurt and not quite feeling like themselves. Like that crown, those standards, that self-esteem, that's what I'm trying to help people recover. There is a process. There's a process I've helped people go through and then they've come back better than ever. So it's at crownrecoveryclass.com. It's an absolutely free class, about an hour-long dialogue where I'm going in, giving the strategies and the tips to recovering your crown.
Hey, men should join me. Oh, Derrick.
Right, that too.
Does your wife join you when you go?
Nah, man, she sits it out, man.
Okay, I'm just asking. Be sure to register for
join them, girl.
Right.
Join them, girl. Get with them, girl.
That's right. CrownRecoveryClass.com. He said it's absolutely free. Derrick Jaxyn, thank you so much for being here with us today.
I appreciate you. Thank you.